The Property Show, we bring you closer to the industry's major players and captains of industry, from land management to start your foundation, all the way up to furnishing and decorating your property as desired. Modern and luxury living for Rwanda in Rwanda.
Real estate sellers and buyers need to be able to determine the value of real estate in order to make good financial decisions. And this is where valuers comes in to determine the worth of a property. In today's episode, we got a chance to speak to a professor from the Rwanda University, telling us why this program was adopted and how the youth is responding to it. And of course, we are going to share with you how you can live that luxurious life, advices and tips, interior designing, and a whole lot more. My name is Brenda. Welcome to the show.
The Property Show brings you an in-depth analysis of the country's real estate development, advice and tips from property owners, engineers, and finance entities that will lead you to owning your dream home. The Property Show. Today on The Property Show.
Before we get into today's conversation with our special guest for today, let's discuss luxury. Have you always wanted to give your space that feel and the look of luxury, but you don't know how, or maybe you think it's too expensive that you can't afford it? Well, here at The Property Show, we share with you practical ideas that you can apply to your home without breaking the bank. Now, think about the last luxury hotel that you walked into. What was the first thing that you saw? Of course, you were surrounded by an amazing lobby that was filled with some exotic flower arrangements, glitz mirrors, well-arranged seating areas, dim light, and fabulous artworks. So, why is it that when the trip is over and you're back to the reality of your home, you're greeted by cluttered living room, unmade bedroom, or even worse, dirty bathrooms? Well, isn't it worth it to have, just even if it's a smaller version of this luxury in your daily life? A lavishing lifestyle can be achieved at home. It just takes a few small steps. First, we must remember that high-class hotels do not come cheap. A team of experienced designers are usually employed to deck the halls of expensive hotels. With that in mind, let's see what we can accomplish on our own. It's actually pretty simple. You just need to guide your visitors' eyes to a certain niche or centerpiece that will welcome them into your home and speak to the rest of your home style. It's best to start with a small entry table, whether it's wood, marble, or shine lacquer. Whatever that you have, you can use that. Now this is going to be your starting point. Then add to this table a pretty lamp, a beautiful bowl that will collect all the knickknacks that you have around, some books or other things that appeal to your taste. Then of course, a pretty flower arrangement. But if you have some space left, you can put on a plump chair that visitors can sit on when they're taking off their shoes or putting them back on. Well, how simple was that? But then I want you to keep in mind, this entryway is the first thing that visitors see when they're coming into your house and when they're getting out. Make sure it gives a positive impact. And I hope next time when you get to stay in a luxury hotel, you remember to look around and learn a few things that you can incorporate in your home. Welcome again, still The Property Show, and I'm still your host, Brenda. And now, land and property valuation, it's a new thing in Rwanda. It's been 6 to 7 years, and today we got a chance of chatting to one of the professors at the University of Rwanda, giving us in depth of what it is, what we can expect from it, and what does the future look like. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now, from the past 6 years as a professor in this profession, do you get enough students coming in pursuing this profession?
Yeah, actually, the department started 2010, and due to the characteristics of this profession, we don't receive many students because we always need, let's say, a lot of equipment that have to help them to do practices. This can be lab-based, this can also be sometimes studio-based. But we tried our best to enroll a quite good number of students. So the first cohort was 43. The second one was around 37. So the number is always between 35 and 45. So each year we always issue this number, but in the coming near future we hope that will increase this number so that valuation and real estate in general can get a quite good number of professionals who can help it to get better. So currently these are people who can really understand what real estate is, and we hope that through their practice, through what they do in their daily life, so they will manage to also attract more youth to the industry. It's actually a very new industry, not only in Rwanda, even worldwide. Even if you go to Europe, you go to America, it's still new. So we hope that in the near future, they will manage to attract more other youth.
Okay, I think this is one of the challenges. Given the fact that the grown-ups don't understand this profession themselves, what are you doing to make sure the youth actually gets to understand it and take it as something that can make a living out of?
At university, apart from teaching, we have what we call community outreach. And with this community outreach, we go out and we can, let's say, help neighborhoods development. We can also help in community development. Now you can ask me, as real estate professionals, what can you do? Because if you have a civil engineer, you know exactly that he can go and build maybe a house of marginalized people, but for us, we don't build. So what we do, we can, for example, look at the property management, the status. If the house is there for a long time and the maintenance has been so poor, so we can ask a student to go and do a kind of housing evaluation. That's different from evaluation. Evaluation means that he needs to evaluate how its status is and what is required to make it proper, to improve it. So after that, he can try to propose strategies of how this house can be maintained. And he can try to set up a team that will come and maintain it, and he will be the one to supervise this team. So at the end, you will have like a property manager at a very low price, because he's trying to even involve communities that can be around and even other professionals, but who are in this community outreach. So on the other hand, they can look at housing finance in the neighborhood, how it is. Maybe some people are in the informal sector and they can't get mortgage or loan easily. Then after showing how the status is, they can make strategies of how these local communities can access mortgage.
As you said it, this is a new profession on the market. What would you say are the challenges?
The first challenge is that people don't really understand what real estate is, because real estate is a kind of hybrid between housing, business, and also urban planning. So whenever you tell someone that you are teaching real estate or you are practicing real estate, he is always finding difficulties to understand. And due to that, we have been facing a lot of challenges to get, for example, clients, because they think that other professionals can do what we do. But we think that through time, people will know what real estate is, and it will help them to improve their properties and also the communities in which they live. On the other hand, when you look at the work our students are doing outside, there are a lot of, let's say, other people from other professionals that are always trying to do it, but sometimes in a unprofessional way, and people will try to confuse us with them. So as a department, as a university, we are always urging our students to be professional and to try to show people what it needs to, let's say, use real estate as a professional that can improve their properties and also their communities.
And I think this is one of the major challenges, because we have people in this industry practicing it professionally and non-professionally. How does one differentiate between the two?
It's somehow difficult, because, for example, if we go in real estate agents, what we call our commissionaire, so you can even find someone who is maybe who is an economist, or who has not been at a school practicing it. So the approaches he's using can be the same with what a real estate professional will use. So it's really difficult to know who is a real estate professional, who is not. A real estate is one of the best professions in the world. If you look at the rank of millionaires in the world, always real estate professionals will come in this top 10. So real estate are the ones who normally own the city, because from land acquisition to the, let's say, to the end product, which is the house, the sale. So these real estate practitioners are the ones who will always deal with, let's say, finance, management, etc. So an architect will come and do the design. A civil engineer will come and do the development. But after that, you have a property manager who will own the property till the property will collapse or will deteriorate. Even at that point, a real estate practitioner will again come and propose some strategies of how to maintain this. So you see that real estate, it's a long life profession. Whenever a property is there, whenever a land is there, so he's the one who will deal with the management, acquisition, finances that are related to the property, etc. So I will call everyone who is interested, especially youth, to this profession, because it will help them to own all cities.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. I've been speaking to Professor Antoine Muhirwa from the Rwanda University, who shared with us a lot and a lot. I hope you learned a thing or two. Stay with us. Be back. As I always say, interior designing ideas don't always come as easy, but worry not, because here at the Property Show, we make sure you get those simple yet innovative ways that you can use to decorate your home. In today's interior designing tips, we share with you how you can use books to upgrade your space. We are always looking at new ways of upgrading our places, and anything that we can do on a budget is an added bonus. When you think about upgrading your space and using books, you're probably thinking about stacking them in a shelf. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm here to share with you so many other ways that you can decorate with books, and it's always stylish. Books ain't just for shelves. Let's start with that coffee table next to you. How about you turn it into a mini library? Stack some books over there and have your favorite on top, just by reach of a hand, and you can have your book. Look for a tidy coffee table. Stack books horizontally and create separate and distinct stacks. The overall look is clean, classic, and uncluttered. Now you might be thinking, I don't have books in my house. Where do I get the books and this and that? Well, stop creating excuses. Just look for probably 4 to 5 books. Ask a friend or go and buy some. If you don't read books, well, I don't know why, but you definitely should be. So get probably 4 to 5 books, put them on a tray and put it on your coffee table. But then to make it more of a focal point, I would advise you to get a cylinder vase, put in some simple arrangement flowers, and it will transform the place. You might get tired of this arrangement within time. Well, don't fuss around it. Just get a different tray according to what you want, and maybe a new flower arrangement, and everything's just brand new. Now, how about turning that old dresser into a combination bookshelf and entertainment center? All you have to do, remove those drawers and just leave the top ones. The rest, remove them and put in the books horizontally. This is going to give your sitting room another look. And for a polish upgrade, put on some decorative objects on the top of the dresser, and you're going to have that polished look that you're always looking for. And let's talk color coding. Well, you can make your bookshelf contents more constant by adding books, choosing them according to their cover colors. Make sure these cover colors are from the same color families. This will give an appealing look that is just beautiful. Don't be afraid to use wrapping papers. If your book covers do not match, then you can just go and buy wrapping papers, wrap the books just the way you want them. And as long as the colors are coordinated, trust me, they will never be out of style. Now, for another clear and beautiful look that you can go, if you're going with a bookshelf, this is what I can advise you to do. Get the top line and the bottom line, put in your books horizontally or vertically. I don't know, whatever that you choose. Then make sure you do the opposite in the middle. Now, these lines in the middle, give it some spaces. Put in some decorative things that you want to put in, and then you're going to give it that beautiful look that you want. And something else that you can do to make it more personalized, you can put a wallpaper in between the books on the walls of your shelves, and it's going to be more beautiful and more personalized just the way you might want it. When it comes to building a custom home, there is more than just making sure that your financials are in check and that you're committed into it. There are those small, simple details that you shouldn't ignore when building a custom home. Well, let's get started. You've made up your mind about building that dream home. You went about your financials and everything looks good and looks ready. And let me tell you, nothing feels good as seeing your vision coming to life in front of your eyes. But as I always say, there's always a whole lot more to everything. And here at the Property Show, we make sure that we bring those small details so that you don't get to miss them. There are a lot of things that you need to consider before you start building a house. First one being time consuming. Well, I'm sure you've thought about that, but I'm here to emphasize on it. You just have no idea how much it is, and you need to put that in your mind and think about it and plan for it before you start building your home. The early stages of designing the home are not that busy, but once the house is framed and construction starts moving, it will get really crazy quickly. If you're into a situation where you're already overwhelmed with work, kids, life commitments, it may not be the best time to start building. The second thing you need to focus on is hiring the right people, because these people are going to kill your home or they are going to make it, one of the two. So you have to really pay attention on it. I don't know how much I can emphasize on this one, but please, if you're going to start building your house or your home or your building or whatever, please pay attention to the people that you hire. And this is the single most important decision you will make, because you'll be working so closely with your builders, architects throughout the process, and your overall building experience is largely determined by relationship with them. Do your homework before you make that decision. The third thing that I want you to think about and think more about it, it's planning. Please plan and plan some more, because when things start moving, you might not get time for small details. You'll be making a lot of decisions every now and then that going back to the small details will be really hard. Time is money when you're building a house, and it's extremely stressful having to slow down things just because you can't pick tiles to put in the bathroom or in the kids' bedrooms. I mean, that's why I'm telling you, you have to plan these things before you actually start building. Pick out as much as you can before you start. Try to have as many details in place as possible before you start building. And I'm so sorry to say, but you're going to make mistakes. And when this happens, I mean, just know that it's part of the building process, because there's no you're going to build a perfect house without meeting those things that don't go as much as you planned them to be. And when it happens, just know that it was meant to be. And there are going to be other things that are going to happen so beautifully, so nice, that you actually didn't expect them to happen that way, but they are so good that they cover up for the bad things that happened. So put that in your mind. When it happens, just move on. Building a house involves a lot of people and a lot of changing and moving parts. Know that you ain't going to get everything exactly how you wanted it. Some things will be amiss and you have to just move on. That being said, other things will unexpectedly turn out a lot better than planned. My last bit of advice is try and enjoy the process. Well, there will be bad days, there will be stressful days, there will be mess and everything around it, but again, there will be overjoying days where you're seeing your vision coming to life. Something that you had in dreams, then you had it on a paper, and now it's there, you can see it. Well, just enjoy it. And remember how fortunate you are to have the opportunity to create this future home for you and your family, and enjoy the little things during the process that makes you happy. And just a reminder, these tips are centered around building a custom home. We have come to an end of today's episode, thanking the professor so much, who gave us motivational facts of why the youth should go and study land and property valuation. We shared with you tips and advices, interior designing, luxury living, and a whole lot more that I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for being with us. Please remember to share with us your comments and ideas on our social media platforms. It will be our pleasure to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. I was your host, Brenda, wishing you well.